The sign was handwritten, a little crooked, and absolutely perfect. Lemonade $1, fundraising for our field trip. My two kids, Mia and Jacob, were finally experiencing something I thought every child had a right to enjoy, a classic summer lemonade stand. They begged me for days to help them set it up. Cups, table, banner, the works. They were proud, excited, nervous, until Mr. Collins showed up. He wasn't technically the HOA president, but he walked around like he owned the street. Clipboard always tucked under his arm like a badge of authority. He stopped in front of the stand, stared down at my kids like they were graffiti sprayed on his garage door. "This is not allowed," he said. "Businesses are prohibited without HOA approval." "It's just a lemonade stand," I replied. "It'll be gone in a few hours." He ignored me. "Pack it up, now." Mia's smile faded. Jacob's hands froze around the pitcher. "They're raising money for school," I said, stepping forward. "Surely the HOA can allow a simple childhood activity." "No exceptions," he snapped. "Rules are rules, and if you don't comply, I'll escalate this." He tore the sign down. The kids gasped. Jacob whispered, "Did we do something wrong, Dad?" Before I could answer, Collins pulled out his phone. "I'm calling the HOA and the police." That was it. A lemonade stand. And this man was calling the police. I told the kids to stay calm. I set the sign back up. Collins paced in circles, ranting loudly on his phone about illegal vendors. Every neighbor on the street heard him. Some shook their heads, others looked disgusted. But one woman approached us quietly. She said, "Let me buy a cup before the fun police ruin the day." She handed Mia a $5 bill. Mia's eyes lit up as she poured. That one act of kindness was a spark. Soon another neighbor walked over, and another, and another. By the time the police car pulled onto our street, there was a line of people waiting. The officer stepped out, took one look around, then smiled. "So who's running the criminal empire?" he joked. Collins rushed forward. "Shut them down! They are violating the Commercial Prohibition Code." The officer looked at my kids, then at the lemonade, then back at Collins. "They're kids selling lemonade. This is not a police matter." "But the HOA regulations!" Collins shouted. The officer shook his head. "Not my jurisdiction, and as far as I'm concerned, innocent activity." Then the officer bought a cup of lemonade. That's when everything changed. Neighbors clapped, phones recorded, cars slowed down to see what the excitement was. The line doubled. Collins realized he had lost control. The more he protested, the more customers arrived. My kids kept pouring, smiling wider each time. Justice tasted like fresh lemonade. What happened next felt like a scene from a movie. A local news van pulled up. Somebody had called the press. The journalists interviewed my kids, and they told the story with shaky voices but proud smiles. The footage aired within an hour. More people drove in from nearby neighborhoods to support them. A local bakery delivered free pastries to hand out. A group of bikers rolled through and bought the entire stock, then waited for the next batch. Cars lined the block. Laughter filled the air. Meanwhile, Collins fumed from across the street like a kettle ready to burst. "This is chaos," he yelled at anyone who would listen. "This is a violation of HOA peace and order." But nobody listened. Even the HOA president finally showed up. She watched the scene, saw the news cameras, saw Collins red-faced and surrounded by a community united against pettiness. She pulled him aside. Their hushed argument was the most aggressive whispering I had ever seen. He jabbed fingers, she pointed back, and in the end, Collins dropped his shoulders like someone deflated a balloon. He left without another word. The president approached me next. "We'll be updating our community rules," she said. "Child-led fundraising and seasonal stands will be permitted from now on."
Then she actually apologized to my kids, to their faces. By sunset, the donation jar overflowed. Mia counted while Jacob stacked cup cowers. My son looked up at me with wide eyes. Dad, we made over $700. They only needed $200 for the trip. I told them what they earned was theirs. They earned every penny fighting for their childhood. Later that night, as we cleaned up, Colin stood alone across the street. He looked smaller, maybe finally realizing how ridiculous he had been. Mia turned to me. Will he try to stop us again? I shook my head. He picked the wrong lemonade stand. The kids fell asleep exhausted but proud. I stepped outside, looked down the street lined with houses, and understood something important. Rules can control a neighborhood, but a neighborhood does not have to be controlled by rules. Sometimes, all it takes is a cup of lemonade.